Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 328 of the Civil Gore podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. And we have one that should have done sooner since we're big fans of the Universal Monster universe, although this is like the remakes, so to speak, are a little different than the classics, but we're going to cover the Wolfman. Or actually, I take that back. It's not the Wolfman. It's just Wolf Space Man.
Wolfman, not the Wolfman.
Wolfman. Yes, it's not the Wolfman. It's not a Wolfman. It's not a man wolf. This is a wolf man. So yes, we're gonna talk about the new Blumhouse Wolfman.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to talking about this one. I have many
Yeah.
thoughts. I do have my blue shirt on, Brian, so I'm not Red Tim tonight.
Oh, you're not Red Tim. So,
But
you might.
I may venture into Red Tim
Oh
territory.
no, you're like
We don't know.
you have internal Red Tim
I
today.
have eternal
Oh.
red, yeah.
So that's what that scares me more because that's why you wore the blue to so counteract the Red Tim. Yeah.
Probably.
Well, this will be interesting to talk about. I think we're going to differ on our likes of the movie, but I definitely have. I've noticed on my second watch some criticisms and a really weird thing that I don't know if it was intentional, but it kind of caught my eye. But we'll discuss that when we get to it.
All right. Well, we have a pretty quick first chop. All right, Brian. So the only thing I had on here is obviously we love our peacock, as we affectionately term the cock
Yes.
around here. And
We need to make those shirts.
yes, we definitely did those shirts. I am kind of going through some horror series that I missed last year. And one of those, because remember we had like a run of horror series. I had Teacup and Grotesquerie, and then this one, Hysteria, which is on Peacock. And this one is set in the 1980s, and it's kind of about the Satanic Panic time period, and it also guest stars Bruce Campbell, which they call him a guest star, but he's in literally every episode. So I'm not sure how that's a guest star. That's just a star at that point. But it tells the tale of this kid. He forms this heavy metal band, and they get into this. They decide for him to impress this girl, he decides to go like full Satan and turn this into like this, pretend like this is like some satanic cult. Well, at the same time, there's a mysterious murder that happened in town, and now you got parents thinking it's all these devil worshippers that did it, even though this kid is like squeaky clean. And Bruce Campbell plays the sheriff of the town, and his granddaughter is mixed up in all this. It's really entertaining. I will say,
Watch this. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say it's 8 episodes. It starts off really strong, and I think up through like episode 4, I was like really, really into it. And then it starts to kind of peter out, and I think it loses steam the second half of the season, unfortunately. So I would almost have rather this been like a 6-episode series. I think 8 kind of just dragged it out too long. By the time I got to episode 8, I was kind of ready for it to be over with, to be quite honest. But it's still it's a good blend of horror and comedy. I would say it actually, from a horror standpoint, is pretty light on actual horror. And it's not really slapstick comedy either, even though it has Bruce Campbell in it. It's kind of this, to me, it kind of has like a Goosebumps tone to it. It's kind of funny without being slapstick, and it's a little spooky without being real scary. And it just kind of, but it's still entertaining all in all. I know Ken didn't like the fact that Bruce Campbell is not comedic at all in this. He's just kind of a light-hearted, serious character. But I didn't mind that at all. Like, I love Bruce Campbell in anything, so it didn't bother me that he wasn't cracking jokes or anything. He's just by his very presence, he kind of brings a lightheartedness to the role. He doesn't have to say jokes to bring that lightheartedness to it. You just know it from looking at him. So
Cool.
I enjoyed it. It's on Peacock. It's worth your time. Like I said, second half is not as good as the first half, but I would still recommend it.
You know, it's funny too because Julie Bowen I saw is in this, and she's kind of like it's like sneaking into the little horror comedy thing because she's in Hubie Halloween. She's in that Totally Killer, which kind of had some comedic elements
it has,
to it a little
the
bit.
girl from Hereditary, the main girl that got yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize she was in there.
Yeah, she's in there. It's got a great cast. The all the kids are good in it. I mean, it's got one of the girls that plays the mom. I think was in True Blood. She's got definitely got some horror cred. So yeah, it's got a great cast. I thought it was it's pretty
Nice.
entertaining.
Right. Oh, real quick before I get into my quick, short, first chop thing, I noticed, I think I was talking to Julia, we were, we wanted to go see Final Destination this week. I wanted to see it, like, open, like, on the Thursday night, and I found that it is playing in 4DX, uh,
Oh,
near me, so I think, and it's, like, certain seats are the D-box seats, so it has the full, like, things going on, so I told Julie, I'm like, "I think I wanna do that one," and she's like, "How much more of those?" I said, "I don't know, I think last time I looked for, like, Aliens, but we never made it there, it's like an extra, like, $5 or something." I'm like, "It's totally
it'd be
worth
worth
it."
it. Totally
Plus,
worth
it's
it.
for the
Yeah.
podcast. I wanna check that out. I mean, imagine what Final Destination already is gonna be cool. Like, imagine, like, moving around, though, when things are happening and, like, effects are coming in. I'm like, I kinda wanna see that, and what a cool way to see, one of the 4DX movies for horror because, I remember, Katie Hettenbach was saying how good Alien Romulus was, with that effect on it. So I'd be
Yeah. I'm
interested to
gonna
see
take the
that. So I may
kids.
go do that. But yeah, oh, yeah, I bet you, like, the kids will enjoy the Final
Yeah,
Destinations.
they've seen all the previous
Oh,
ones.
yeah, so
We went through the series a while back, so they're really looking forward to it. I can't wait for it to come out. We're
oh,
gonna definitely
nice.
go see it opening night, hopefully.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna try and go for the Thursday night show because right now it's like every seat is available, including all the D-box seats. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'll do that because I definitely want to try a D-box thing. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about real quick is this is me probably just discovering this, but on my screen box, I was scanning through the other day. I was like trying to find something to watch, and like for some reason, there's a million things on my watch list, like that I want to see, but like I was like for some reason I just couldn't get into the mood. So I was like, hey, see what's there. And I found Bloody Bites on Screambox, which is like 12 or 13 seasons of shorts, horror shorts. And I feel like I thought I might have seen it before, but I think I've just seen some of the shorts for like the style. I noticed like one of the seasons has the stylist on one of
Yeah.
its episodes, and the short film short of stylist. And so I think it's just a collection of shorts that they've done, but I started to watch a couple and they're pretty cool, I mean, they go through, like, they're not, like, edited in any way to where they're, like, you might find on YouTube because there's, like, nudity, there's tons of gore, there's whatever it needs to be in this, so it's like they're just, like, really good shorts, so and you know how I love my horror shorts, so I'm gonna try and, like, watch the rest of these. I think I watched the first couple episodes of season 1 so far. There were some good ones, so if you're looking, I guess, to watch, horror, I guess, and you don't have a lot of time, this is a good thing because you can watch a couple of shorts.
Yeah, I was telling Brian before we started recording, I'm glad he mentioned this because I totally forgot I had a Screambox subscription. I've been paying
Saying,
for it. I just totally forgot. The last time I watched it was for the horror challenge, and I was watching all the Gamera movies.
"Oh, yeah, they had
Gamera,
all
how do you
those on
spell it?
there."
Gamera,
Yeah.
Gamera. Sorry,
I
Gamera.
say Gamera, but
I think
I
it's
don't
Gamera. It's been
I
so
think
long
it's
since I
like
watched them all.
Chimera is probably what
That's what I
you
had
might
in
be
my mind
thinking,
when I
yeah.
said that. Yeah, but yeah, that's the last time I watched it. Now I went back and I was like, oh crap, I need to watch. Like, there's tons of stuff on here I need to watch now.
Oh,
But
we should mention that the Final Girl, the next season of the Summer of Fear, like, sets for that Final Girl, board game is, like I think they're taking pre-orders now for the and it's pretty inexpensive. I think it's like 105, gets you, like, everything, like, the whole summer of stuff. There's not as many as, like, in the previous seasons, but there's a whole bunch of, like, cool little extras that you can get if you order, like, the top tier of it, and
I
it's
need to
not that
look into that.
expensive.
I skipped
Yeah.
season 3 though because I haven't even played all of season 2
I know,
yet.
I
I'm
need
like,
to I need to buy season 2 and season 3. I know season 2 is still available, but it's like I just haven't bit the bullet yet on the 200 plus bucks,
yeah.
oh, and also, I think this week, I think the end of the week, it gets announced the campaign, so we need to reach out to David, the next chapter, 95 to 99 of the In Search of Darkness 90 series,
Oh, okay.
gets announced. So we gotta call him, reach out to him. So now that we're off Twitter, I feel like we barely get to speak to Jeff Whitmire anymore. We gotta change that. I gotta reach out to him. I'm gonna just give him my cell number at this point. Say,
Yeah.
Jeff, I know we don't get to talk to you because we're hardly on even Blue Sky. We hardly just I know we don't post a lot. We just do Instagram mostly, if anything
Yeah,
now. We need to get back on our social media game a little bit.
yeah. We need a social media person like to
Well, my
take
brother
over.
volunteered, but I think he'd take us to a place we're not ready for. We'd probably have way too many interactions that we can't keep up with, but, um,
Oh, all right. Well,
I
let's get into Brian's. I gave him a to be trap, and this was kind of a off the cuff one, but the reason I picked it, number one, the name, and number two, it has Tony Todd in it. So
does.
I had to I had when I saw it had Tony Todd in it, I had to pick this one. But Brian, I'll let you introduce this lovely
Yeah,
title
so
here.
this one is called Bitch Ass. I guess I don't know if they were trying to like, make a joke in the name with kick ass. It has nothing to do with the
Yeah,
superhero or anything, but it's kinda funny. It's from 2022, and it's I'm gonna laugh because the director's name is Bill Posley, and after all the people were really saying last time, like, that'd have been a better name that could have fit into last week's
I
discussion
know.
with all the
I
but,
laughed about the director name too.
yeah, but it's Bill Posley, spelled a little different than Bill Mosley, but anyway, this was starring Tian Kelly as Q, Tunda I'm gonna butcher this name, Tunda Lalai maybe, as who played the titular bitch ass,
Chiller
Melissa
bitch ass.
Sellers, not Melissa, this is Melissa, because there's an apostrophe in the right place, as Marcia, Kelsey Caesar as Tuck, Sean McKinney as Spade, I guess it's pronounced AFRO as Moo. He's a rapper. I looked him up.
Okay.
He's a rapper, and he's
Okay.
actually performed on Jimmy Fallon. He's a pretty funny dude, like, in person. He's kind of the comic relief in this too. He plays Moo. Belle Guillory as Cricket, Sherry L. Walker as Grandma, and Tony Todd as Titus Dark with a Q. That's just a
Like that.
cool, like, name, yeah.
Yeah.
And so first of all, Tony Todd, I wanna get my notes up here. Tony Todd plays the narrator in this. So
Okay.
this is like as much as I would watch a movie, like, with wall to wall Tony Todd in it, I mean, there's pretty much nothing I would not watch with him, and I can't seem to find my notes on this. I hope I did not lose them, but oh, here it is. Okay. So he plays the narrator, and he starts off, in only the way Tony Todd could, like, he's like, "I'm about to tell you a tale," and he does all that stuff, and he's like and he has, like, a VHS, and he goes, "It's a story about bitches," like, there's no one else that could have done this opening. No one on earth. Tony Todd is the only one that could have done this. But basically, it's kinda like this meta start where he references other horror movies that took place in the quote unquote ghetto. Like he says, Bones, People Under the Stairs, and then he goes, and Candyman, which of course is a great wink,
Oh,
wink,
that's
nod,
great.
nod. So
Yeah.
right off the bat, I'm like, okay, this movie could stink from now on, and it's already made me happy. Just by that, like, little, like, tongue-in-cheek meta approach of Tony Todd. But then he goes, and he says, "This is the first." That he says he claims this is the tale of the first black serial killer to wear a mask, and it says, and he has the VHS copy of Bitch Ass. So it's kind of like interesting start to it. It's kind of like an Elvira kind of thing going on there with that. So I will say this may be the first in history and first ever where we have back-to-back Tubi traps that are not traps. Because I actually
Oh,
really like this movie a lot, actually. You will actually love this movie if you have not seen it, Tim, and you
I
just
have not.
random
Yeah.
Okay, so the plot is this kid is he's growing up in the ghetto. But his grandmother is like the one rich person in the neighborhood. And she's got, I guess, and she drives around in a Cadillac. So they already have this animosity towards his family. And the kid who forgot his real name because they always refer to him as bitch ass in this. They say his name, but I forget it. But basically he's this like shy kid who loves board games and like they show some older board games in the room and he's just obsessed with board games and his grandmother he plays with the grandmother and he invents his own board games little things but his grandmother like who looks like the sweet old lady is like super domineering like to him and she like whips him and mistreats him if he does stuff that like like almost like Harry White's mom like don't look at the girls they're like kind of thing so she's kind of crazy but he meets this nice girl that he got that she kind of she's hanging around with the bullies, but she's kinda like that typical character that, like, she's kinda got, like, this kinda she's got a heart of gold, and she's kinda in there, but she, like, she has a conscience, and she befriends him, and, and he's like, he's even, like it's cute. Like at one scene, he kind of says, like, "Would you want to come over and play board games with me?" Kind of thing. And like, and which she does and wants to do it, but like, the whole thing is like her boyfriend is the bully. So, they really like mistreat him and so basically he like even makes this like own like this basement. He builds on top of his basement this thing that says game room or game house or something. So it's like he's got like this basement where he has those board games and he plays and stuff. But basically she like in one of the fight sequences where they're trying to bully him, his mom pulls up his grandmother pulls up and saves him, and then but of course, typical bully is like, "I'm gonna get revenge. I'm gonna get him, don't worry." And he basically cons the girl into, like, leading him into a spot where she thinks they're just gonna, like, tease him, is what I got from it, but they, like, basically start slicing his face up with a razor blade and really, like, leave him, like, an inch of life
Oh my
left,
gosh.
and his grandmother appears, and so they do that through flashbacks, obviously, it's gonna be heavy spoilers here, but, so he leaves it to but what happens is so then you keep the main storyline that's kinda that keeps cutting back to the back history is a group of kids that wanna get into this that the do you find out later that that bully was, like, actually running this gang, so the 6th Street gang or something, and so there's these he recruits these kids to try and initiate, and one of the kids is really one of these good down to earth kids that, like, is trying to get the college, good grades, he just can't quite, he's the kid that's gonna get out of there because 'cause he's got, like, a lot of, like, he's like, he does really well in school, he's up for these scholarships and stuff, um, but you find out later on, like, throughout the story and I'm kind of going a little erratic, it works so much better than I'm probably telling it, but, like, you find out that his mother is actually the girl that was trying to befriend the character of Bitch Ass as a kid.
Oh, okay.
So but anyway, so the whole point is their initiation is they have to break into the grandmother's house. I don't think they know that bitch ass is still alive in there, but they wanna break into the grandmother's house and basically steal all the money, steal money from there, and then they're into this gang. So, you know, the guy Quentin, he's the main character, he goes by Q in this. He doesn't he's the one that has second thoughts, but he goes in there, and so basically, they don't realize, so bitch ass is in there, and what he does is he gets them one by one, and basically they have to play, like, some sadistic board game or variation of a board game to get it's very game heavy, this
Oh my
movie,
gosh,
so
this
that's
sounds
why
just like
it's
a
right up
such a
your
Tim movie. I
it's a
never had
total
a
Tim
clue.
movie. Like,
Yeah.
even, like, from the moment, like, the first thing, like, the mother and son have this cute, like, thing where they do like, the rock, paper, scissors for, like, doing the dishes kinda thing, so it's very just game heavy. So and it's great 'cause, like, the first one, oh, and there's gotta be a nod to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They're walking in, and there's all these, like, hanging, like, Parcheesi pieces and pieces from board games that you'll look at, that kind of move in, like, you move away like the bones were in Texas
Yeah.
Chainsaw Massacre. So it's
Oh,
kinda
that's
like
great.
that, and so the games that they have to play are really cool. Like, the first one is a human operation, basically, where you have to play bitch ass in it. And it's got this video game kinda style thing where it'll go on and go, player 1, bitch ass, player 1, 2, like, the victim kinda thing. And so, like, they literally have to go in tongs and take out actual organs, but he's rigged it so that if you do touch the sides of the body, it electrocutes you. So it's
That's
kinda like
great.
a so it's like a human operation. Then there's one where it's like Connect 4, but, like, I guess when you run out of the girl's like, "Oh, this is my game," but, like, if you run out of pieces, you have to start putting your body in it, and so she gets, like, as you
Oh
can
my
imagine what
gosh.
happens to her. Yeah.
This sounds like something we
The
would have written.
it does, I'm telling you. The 3rd one is a weird, like, kinda Jenga thing where like, it's, like, on scales, and there's a noose on each, like, the neck, and so it's, like, you have to win or, like and every time you pull the pieces out, the weight shifts, and it's gonna eventually, like, strangle and then there was, um there was a battleship style game, which one was cool because that's the one towards, where, like, the one of the girls is the mother is finally comes back in when she realizes what's happening and tries to save it, and, her mean boyfriend from the beginning, he's gotta play this battleship, and it's like a life-size battleship where it's like kinda thing where it's like but you move these planes, and if you get hit, you get stabbed. Like, and she and so it's, like, really gets, like, crazy in this, and then the final one is, like, an eventual game of rock, paper, scissors, where he's gotta play bitches. I'll leave that part to surprise because 'cause it's got a fun little ending the way it works. But, like, the just it was like it's one of these movies where it's just like I had so much fun watching it because like I was like I wanted to see what was happening next. I mean, granted, it's a little erratic at points, and there's like parts where it like cuts, and you're not sure what like how things happen, but it's like overall, it's like it's a really fun movie. It's definitely not like one of these, like ones you'll find on Tubi and be like, oh my god, only Tubi would have this, kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is actually a really kind of fun movie, and it's like it's
I'm gonna have
really
to watch this one
well
now.
done. Yeah, I think you'll like it. It's short too. It's like not. I don't even think it's an hour and a half. It might be just under an hour and a half. But it's just that the performances are really good in it. Like the characters are really cool. The guy that plays bitch ass is kinda neat, like, just the way his, like, style is, like, he's only got, like, half a mask, so it's not like you don't know who it is, and there's no, like, mystery in terms of, like, who the killer is, you know who it
Right,
is,
yeah.
and so you can just go sometimes I like that because you could just go there and enjoy it, you're not trying to your mind's not elsewhere, like, you know and I'm not gonna knock Scream in any way, but you know how, like, Scream, half the time in the movie, you're kinda trying to figure it out in your head who the killer might be
Yeah, a lot
because
of
that's
those are
its
like
shtick.
that. This was more
Yeah.
like to me, this sounds more like a not in terms of tone, but like Pumpkinhead, where you have a somebody's bullied and then that or I think it was Pumpkinhead 2 maybe, but,
Yeah, I
where
think it's the second one.
where you have somebody's bullied and they come back to, like, torment their bullies type of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like
it's like
that.
yeah, it's like I actually, you feel a little bit of sympathy for for bitch ass, because I mean, if you think about it, he's abused by his grandmother, basically by like her just giving him I mean, yes, he had, I guess, in one way, he had all the board games he could ever want. So I mean, there's that. But but he also is always like mentally just and then like he's like he's betrayed in his eyes by the one person he thought was friendly to him and and he was always bullied, to no fault of his own for being just a shy kid that happened to have his family happened to have money, kind of thing. So, but it's really good. And there's some actually there's some some like there's just some cool stuff it does in there, and it's like fun to watch. So it's like and the fact that Tony Todd's a wraparound narrator, it's like it kind of gives it legitimacy right off the bat with him starting it. But overall, it's actually a really fun movie. And they do there is I don't know if there is a sequel, but they tease that there could be possibly. I'm actually gonna look it up now. I don't for some reason I know there's one series that I thought this was that wasn't it, but I thought I remember seeing a couple of them, but this was not it, obviously. But so far there's only one bitch ass, but I would love for them to make a sequel because I think there could be a lot of like they can go a lot of cool ways with it. So
Very cool. Yeah, I'm definitely
but
gonna
yeah, there's
watch
a
this
back
one.
to back, Tim, where we got booby traps that were not traps,
I know.
technically.
Yeah, we're doing good. Yeah, yeah. I think it's better this way that we pick them for other reasons other than let me find the worst movie possible because that gets old after a while. I think.
Yeah. I kinda wish you got this one just because it's, like, such a you movie with all the
I
game
know.
elements to it, like, especially right after we, like, made that design for your
I
friend that,
know,
like,
and
we
I had
killed him off.
0 clue. I had no clue this had anything to do with games at all,
Yeah.
like, no clue. I didn't even look at the synopsis, I just looked at the title, saw Tony Todd was in
Well,
it, and was
yeah,
like, "Go."
but if you look at the synopsis, it sounds more like just a straight Saw ripoff. Because says
Deadly
a gang
Games,
initiation
yeah.
goes wrong, 4 recruits break into a house of horrors, they're all forced to play deadly games for their lives. Win and you live, lose and you die. What does that sound like? Saw,
Yeah,
right?
sounds like Saw, yeah.
But it's like Saw if everything was board game based. So it's like,
That's cool.
yeah, so like I'm all for it.
Alright, well, let's get to our main feature. We watched this one with the kids the other night, because it is now streaming. What service is that one on? Is that one
That
on the Cock,
might
I
be on the
think?
cock,
I think it's
actually.
on the Cock, yeah.
It could be on the cock.
Wolfman, from this year and directed by Lee Wanell, starring Christopher Abbott as Blake, Julia Garner as Charlotte, Matilda Firth as Ginger, Sam Yeager as Grady, Ben Prendergast as Grady Wolf, Zach Chandler as Young Blake, and Benedict Hardy as Derek. A family at a remote farmhouse is attacked by an unseen animal, but as the night stretches on, the father begins to transform into something unrecognizable.
So we should say spoilers here, where there's no way to discuss this without some
Yeah.
spoilers.
I've
So
gotta tell spoilers of this one, so if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out on the Cock and get back with us.
it never
But
gets old,
it never gets old, I'm sorry.
at least not to us.
We're mentally 12 years old.
Yes.
But I will say when this came out in theaters, I was really excited for it because I really liked the Invisible Man reboot they did. And I'm totally okay with, as much as I love the true Universal reboot of the Wolfman, which was the Benicio del Toro one that we both will defend with our lives, that we liked it even though the critics did not like it. I was totally on board for a new, fresh take on the Wolfman character and to see how they were going to modernize it and how they're going to update it. And I was totally on board for this. And then when it came out in the theaters, I started seeing mixed reviews, and that kind of kept me from going to see it in the theater. But I will say, when it came to streaming, I went into this with a very, very open mind because I knew that uh, critics hated the Wolfman remake with Benicio del Toro in it,
Like, we loved.
which we
You and
loved.
I
And I was
yeah.
like, I was thinking in my mind, this might be one of those movies that I actually end up really liking more than the critics said. And I will say for the first like 15, 20 minutes, I thought that's what the case was going to be. I really liked this movie. The first 15, 20 minutes, I was totally on board. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm going to really like this movie. I can already tell I'm going to really like this. And that kind of fell apart after a while. And I'll tell you the reasons why as we get into it. But it didn't hold up as it didn't hold the promise of those first 15 or 20 minutes, unfortunately, but not for maybe the reasons you think. So, what was your overall impressions, Brian? And then we'll kind of get into specifics.
Yeah, so I watched it twice. I watched it a couple of weeks ago, or I think when I talked about it, and I said I liked it. It was different than I expected. So I wanted to do a rewatch, and on the rewatch, I was, and especially I saw you guys like, it was getting talked about in the chat, or a little group chat about things. So I kind of knew where you're going. I'm like, all right, I'm like, I'm gonna watch it again anyway, though, just to be fresh, because it's been a while, so it's a few weeks since I watched it, and it's weird. I mean, I still overall enjoyed it. I did not like it. That like to say I didn't like it is wrong. But I noticed I definitely didn't. It didn't give me the same I started to notice like the cracks in it, and
Yeah,
things that I didn't like. And here's one thing. Now, this is gonna sound weird because it's gonna tie back to the Invisible Man a little bit. I was one that I loved Invisible Man. I
yeah, me
loved
too.
it. But when you try and when you do and I notice it's a trend with these remakes of Universal classic monsters, right? So, when it came out, it was a way it had a style, those Universal monster movies. Today's standards, you look at it as very campy, but still awesome. And back then you could see how it was frightening to people, but to us, we're like, that's okay. But we just love them. But you know, like you couldn't make those Universal monster movies in the same way now. No, there's just no way to do it to make it to unless you did like a literally a shot for shot remake, and that wouldn't work either.
It would be too
But
goofy. Yeah,
right, and, perfect example, like Invisible Man, what did it do? Like, okay, in the original, it was a potion that he drank, and it turned him invisible, he's a scientist. In this, they're like, "Okay, potion's just not gonna sell, we need to make it sci-fi-ish now, so we need to make that." And while it was cool, and I loved it, to me, I'm like, "Okay, well, it's really not the same Invisible Man, as we grew up on seeing it from the Universal Monsters." So this was kind of the similar way where you're going on like, how many times are you gonna see, the classic Wolfman werewolf story? A guy's out there, gets bit, and then he turns into a werewolf, and he's running rampant around, and how many times have we seen that? So they had to try something different, I thought. And like you said, I thought it started off great. Like I loved the start of it. Like the whole sequence with the father and son was really tense and really cool and foreshadowed a ton. I mean,
yeah.
I thought, like once I saw that, I'm like, okay, I see where this is going, kind of a thing. And right off the bat, it goes in and it has, you see that it's like, okay, when his father was like so obsessed with taking care of his child that he almost got he was like screaming at him because he was so. And they actually have the line later on where he go, which was actually a really good line when he goes, sometimes when you're so protective of, of someone you care about, you end up becoming the thing you're trying to protect them from,
Yeah.
you know, and so there was that good balance. So there's a lot of story with that I liked about it. But, I think where it kind of got like, I don't know. I think where it got to that point, it seemed to like, and I can't put my finger on why, but there just seemed to be something missing, like towards the second half of the movie. Like the emotion that should have been there wasn't there as I expected. And here's a big spoiler, obviously, and so this is where if you didn't hear our warning now, uh, too bad, because you're gonna get spoiled. So when he starts to become the werewolf, and it comes to that point that happens in every type of werewolf movie where the loved one has to kill the werewolf, put him out of his misery because he knows he's going to harm them, and he wants it to. The little bit of humanity he has left kind of tells him that. For some reason, I didn't have the same emotion that I thought. Like it wasn't like little girl was great the way she was, and I don't know if it was the main actor it wasn't bad, like Christopher Abbott. He wasn't bad as the main guy, but and I for some reason I didn't have the emotional tug that you expect by that point.
Oh,
You know,
this is exactly where I'm going with this, because you brought up a perfect point, Brian, and then this is kind of my same criticism. Let me step back just a tad.
yeah. Sorry, I kind
I
of went all the way through to the
No,
end there,
no, no,
but
no, but
yeah,
I wanna step back just a tad because,
yeah,
the I'm with you, like, I was okay with them making werewolf, like, almost like a disease, like, in this movie, it's almost like, a communicable disease, which it kind
and
of is, I
you
guess.
have to change it a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to change it
And
up
let's
slightly.
let's be honest, a werewolf movie is one thing, but making a wolf man movie gets a little silly. I mean, you're at this point, you're talking about a man with like hair on his face and like
Yeah,
any teen wolf. I mean, and we've all seen that. Like, how do you make it's much I think even werewolf movies are hard to make scary because the whole concept of a werewolf is kind of goofy to begin with, but when you add a wolf man into it, it gets even worse. It gets even more goofy. So how do you make that scary? I thought they did a pretty darn good job making this scary by making this like a disease, like almost like a possession.
yeah.
And the way and even the makeup was great. It didn't look goofy to
Yeah,
me. Like I
the effects
yeah,
were
the
well
effects were great.
done.
So I didn't have any problem with that whole aspect of it. But when you brought up the point about, it kinda felt emotionally flat, I thought I thought this movie did not have a great cast. I thought this cast was not good, and I'm not questioning their acting ability because, Christopher Abbott's great. He's been in a ton of stuff. Julia Garner's not been in as much stuff, but she's also, a
She was
talented
big on that
actress.
Ozark show, right? I think
Yeah.
Ozark was
But
and when
here's
she
the
had the
problem.
famous member, "I don't have time for this, I don't have time for you." I wish she would have said that in this, that
Yeah,
might
oh
have
my gosh, that
made it
might have
better,
saved
but
the movie. But,
yeah.
so I looked this up on IMDb. So Christopher Abbott, I think, is 38 or 39. Julie Garner is 31. But to me, on screen, he read older and she read younger.
Yeah,
And so they already got like an 8-year age difference in real life. It almost exacerbated the age difference on screen. And for some reason, I could never buy them as a couple. Never once in this movie did I believe this was husband and wife. It just there was no chemistry between them whatsoever. And I know in the movie they kind of have their marital issues, but
it wasn't you're right, it was not that kind of
it wasn't that. It was
misconnection.
no, it like these two actors just didn't like to me, this movie suffered greatly because of the cast. Now, the girl that Matilda Firth who played Ginger, she was fantastic,
Yeah,
and I thought the bond between the dad and the daughter was good. Like I thought that was
yeah.
believable,
Yes,
but
that was completely
that
believable.
was believable. But I could not buy this marriage, and I think without that, the whole thing falls apart because you don't care if the you got to have that emotional connection of this character you really care about is turning into a wolf man and he's like he's gonna die and this whole family's in danger. But if you don't have the chemistry between the man and the woman, there's no emotional heft there at all. There's nothing there. So I think that's exactly where that came from, Brian, when you said you felt flat, like you didn't feel the emotion. I think it was because it's never established in this movie from the start. You never buy into the premise that this is a family. I'm sorry, but it did. And again, I'm not saying anything about the performances. I'm thinking it's either a combination of the script or the direction, or there's just sometimes two people just don't have chemistry and it just doesn't work. And I think that's what the case was here. The other problem I had with it was the script. Uh, with all apologies to Lee Wanell, because I love Lee Wanell to pieces. Like I love like everything he's done. But in this case, I thought the script was so predictable. It almost got comical when we were watching it with the family because we were guessing every single thing that was going to happen, and it would. Like there was a point, like I mean, God, like not 15 minutes into the movie, Olivia goes, "Oh, his dad's going to be the one. The dad that went missing is the werewolf." Like Josh was like, "Mom, stop!" And of course, like that turned out. And then there was another part where he kept the daughter plays this. The dad plays this game with the daughter where he's like, "Read my mind. What am I saying?" And she puts her hand on his head and she goes, "You love your little girl." And he's like, "How did you know?" And
Yeah,
there's this funny family joke thing. And I was like, the minute they did that, the first time, I said, there's going to be a scene where he's turning
yeah.
into a werewolf and she puts her hand on his head and he goes, "What am I thinking?" Like it was
That's what I
so
said that's why I said this thing foreshadowed,
oh
like,
my
th or
God,
did
it
I
was
say it? I
so
was gonna say it.
yeah,
This was, like should be called like, Wolfman foreshadowing,
it was
because there was
so
so much
predictable.
foreshadowing. You saw every like, literally, the same thing with you knew that deer blind was gonna come into play again,
Yes,
and you
like
knew
his
that, like yeah, in that scene you said with the hand and you knew that there was gonna be that sequence where and once they said, "We're gonna go up there to reconnect," I'm like, "Okay, well, there's obviously what" you know what's gonna happen now
it
with this,
it
it's
felt
not gonna
like somebody took a screenwriting 101 class and they said, "Well, remember, if you introduce this here, you've got to pay it off here." And somebody did that like by the book with the whole
which
time.
is so weird because Lee Wanell's other scripts aren't like that.
I know there's something off about this movie. Like, well, his other director, like Invisible Man, was great. Like, I don't know what happened with this. It's not. There's something missing here, but like it
Well,
didn't
remember,
gel.
Invisible Man had, Elizabeth Moss in it, which is so good that if there were any holes in that script and on her side, she would have easily
Probably, yeah.
plugged them. She would have caulked it in 2 seconds. Um, you know, that's funny being on Peacock, but caulk, not
Caulk,
cock, caulk,
caulked
which is
it.
that why was that the word for God's sake? It's just ripe for too many jokes and too many misunderstandings. Um, but anyway, and another thing I noticed, and this is what I said where I was going to tell you something weird that I noticed. How many similarities it had to Lost World, Jurassic Park, the second one. It
Yeah,
had the deer blind, which was the high hide. It had the truck that gets attacked and tips over and they're hanging out of it. I'm like, "Okay, that's like that bus." Granted, not to the
yes.
scale it was. And then the part where they have to get chased to a house and they have to run in there and then they and just like the same kind of thing, how it
It's
breaks in.
so
It's very,
bad.
very
It's so
it's like it
generic.
yeah, I don't know what happened. This is one time where I would love to have Lee Wanell on there and say, were you like, was this your script from the beginning, or did someone come in there and say like, no, this is what we need from this movie? And now now they're trying to reboot this whole this is why I never think they're going to ever be able to do the Universal Dark Universe thing that they're trying to get.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't now granted, I will say, so you know how I was saying things are changing, like, remember the Brendan Fraser Mummies? Okay, that was not a remake. That was not an attempted remake of The
Right.
Dark Universe. That was The Mummy. It was, it was an action adventure thing more than it was horror. I mean, if you wanna be honest, it's definitely like one of those, like, Romancing the Stone kinda like, rip-roaring adventure comedy fun with, kinda thing. Um yeah, I know it's funny, the Tom Cruise one, I still have yet right with Tom Cruise, I
I
have
have
yet
not
to see
seen it.
that one.
I have
I have
not
not
seen it
seen
yet.
it either. I had no desire to because all I heard was how bad it was. I mean, I should give it a whirl. I think I own it probably, but, I do wanna see it, but, like, and that they said that was supposed to be the big reboot, and that failed. So then Invisible Man came out, and that one was a hit, and you're like, "Okay, well, I don't see how it's gonna tie into the other mods." See, the thing they're doing is there's no way to tie them all in together like they did back in the early,
Yeah, no,
30s and 40s.
these are like completely all standalone stories that
Yeah, so
are
why they're calling it a reboot of the Dark Universe kinda thing, or where they're trying to get all the monsters back, they can't do it that way. You can't do it. You need them all together. Like, and it definitely from the little bits I've seen does not match the Dark Universe, obviously,
They should have
in
done
the
if they'd done
Epic
the
Universe.
original, the Benicio del Toro Wolfman would have fit right into the Dark
That would have
Universe.
fit in. You could have tied that in. And I know you hate that you hated the I still haven't watched it yet because you kinda soured me on it. I know you hated the latest Kong vs. Godzilla, but at least that movie found a way to blend all the monsters in,
You know how they
like
should have done it? Did you ever see the Penny Dreadful series?
no, but I heard it's really good. I need to
It
watch that.
it's essentially kinda like the Dark Universe, what it should have been. They should have made this is just my opinion, and I don't know that it would have worked in today's world, but I would have loved to seen it. They should have made these all take place in Victorian times, just like the original Universal. I don't know if these took place in whatever. Make them
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
Victorianish times, and you just do a modern remake, just like the Wolfman they did, and you do that for Frankenstein, you do that for Jekyll and Hyde, you do that, and then you bring them all together. Penny Dreadful did it in a mini-series form. I mean, they had Frankenstein, they had, some of the other one I can't remember right off the top of my head, the other ones they had, but they had all these characters interacting, vampire, Dracula, they had all them interacting in this Victorian world, and you could have done that. That's how you do your Dark Universe. I don't know the need. Maybe I'm just I'm I'm I guess I'm such a fan of the old movies that I don't understand why they need to modernize it to the point where they're like superheroes or something. I don't know what the dark universe
Yeah.
thing can be like. Why can't you have a dark universe that takes place in like their world?
Yeah, and I'm gonna pose a question to you because 'cause I'm gonna say, because first of all, I wanna say it obviously works because look how much everyone loved Nosferatu, right? That
Exactly.
imagine they made that, modern tried to modernize that, you can't do it. So,
No, that's what I'm
w
saying.
just be so it and I'm gonna go back to another kind of, this is weird that I'm gonna do a second Jurassic Park reference, but it's like, you just try to do what what you to do if you could, but not if you should. Whatever the Jeff Goldblum line was.
Yeah, but
Just because you can modernize the Wolfman and Invisible Man, and granted, again, I loved Invisible Man, I'm just saying, if you're trying to do the Dark Universe, you can't put Invisible Man like that and then blend it into this.
why couldn't these
Why
be
did you
modern period pieces? That's what I'm
Right,
saying.
why couldn't you but this is my question to you, I was gonna say, do you think it's a Blumhouse thing? Do you think Blumhouse kinda has this thing where they want they do they're with their target audience, they don't think could handle a period piece, they want the cool, hip,
Oh,
rockin' kinda thing,
absolutely. I
right?
think so because Blumhouse is their demographic is teens to young adults.
And
I
don't get
mean,
me
that's
wrong, they
just
do it well, obviously, like
yeah.
Megan, everyone loves, The Black Phone, those kinda movies, that's fine, they're great, but when you're taking a classic property like that, you have to be much more careful. You have to hold it like it's one of those Fabergé eggs, you
Yeah.
don't wanna drop it. Take the I don't care if this thing was delayed another 10 years till they got it right. Put it back in make it more of a just make a modernized version of the period piece,
But
make
here's
it
the
with
thing,
the new effects and stuff.
I understand that there's probably this idea that teens aren't gonna go for they're not gonna watch something set in Victorian England, they're not gonna watch some dry history, but historic movies still do very well. I mean,
Yeah.
for the right audience, like, I don't understand why you couldn't make this like a and this is a weird suggestion, but look at Downton Abbey, how
Yeah.
popular that was. Look at The Crown,
What's that
how
other one?
popular that was.
Bridgerton, right? Bridgerton, is that one?
Bridgerton, look how popular that was. Now
Is
granted,
that's I don't watch it, I don't know, I just hear that name
I've
and it looks
watched
Victorian.
Bridgerton. Yeah,
Is it Vict
it's very, now granted, these are more romantic and
Yeah.
comedy and stuff, but I'm saying history doesn't necessarily have to be the death knell for, a franchise. Like, if you did it well, just like you said, Nosferatu is the most excellent example of this. Like, that was a
It's
hit, and nobody
I
cared that it was set
Yeah.
in freaking whatever, 1800 or whatever. I don't know my dates. It was whatever it was set. Like, nobody cares that it wasn't set in 2025. I just think if you did it right, you could look at Bram Stoker's Dracula. That was set back in then. I mean, I don't know. I don't, it's kind of weird because I'm kind of arguing against myself. I don't mind them doing something different and trying to update it I thought it was kind of cool. But if you're trying to do an entire universe, I don't think you can do that. I think if you're doing a
Yeah.
universe and you truly want it to be a universal monsters universe, you have to set it back in that time,
Yeah,
and you
see,
have to do period pieces. I think you
and
have
I think yeah, and I think that's what my biggest problem is with all of 'em. I think Invisible Man because I just never connected it to the monster because I didn't think it was they were trying to at that point again. I don't know if
yeah.
they were,
I
I
just
can't
saw that as a
remember.
one-off. Like that was a one-off
Right.
cool thing to do.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought, and I think and I'm not trying to speak for you, but I think for you and me who hold the Universal monsters as such a like a sacred thing to us, and we love them, and it was our, like, entry a lot of entry into our horrors loves. I think that it's almost like insulting is too strong of a word, but it's almost like, did you care about the property that you had that, like, I know you wanna do something different, but you could have done something different, but same, all close, similar? At least, something I don't know how to do like, maybe, at least connect it to the lineage maybe in some weird way. I don't know. I like, look, and I'm not trying to bash on Lee Winnell here because I don't know how much I could do better. I mean, I'm not a trained screenwriter in any way. I'm just a fan and a viewer, but you know, I just think they could have still got the best of both worlds, done something different. But look at Nosferatu, right? Like, what were we all joking about? We're all sitting there, oh, the mustache and this, but that was more accurate actually, technically, and that was different than the original Nosferatu in a way, and it was still, th so it's like you could have just still done it on a big scope with still an older timey thing, maybe even go through several generations in a film. Try something like that as your change, you know?
Well, here's a thought, Brian. Could it be that up until this point, up until Nosferatu, that the stain of the old Wolfman reboot they did, which was a flop, it was a flop, even though as
I
much as we
still don't
liked it,
know
it was a
why
flop.
though.
We don't know why, but
Yeah,
was that the driving force and them feeling Hollywood feeling like they had to do something different? Does Nosferatu change that? Does the upcoming Bride of Frankenstein that's coming out next year, which is set in 1930s, which is
thankfully,
another
yes.
period piece, if that's successful, is that gonna change that? Maybe the success of this new generation of movies is going to steer this ship back on course. I don't know.
I would hope
Hopefully.
so because I think especially now with Epic Universe, Universal Monsters could now come into the younger set organically, and then they'll be like they'll watch anything with it. They'll say, "Oh, wow, I don't care. This is back in the 1930s. This is I loved it when I went to the park," kind of a thing. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah. Who
But you're
knows?
right, though. That is an interesting thing because, like, with this, remember, it's like anything, though. It takes, like, when certain things fail, it could determine people's, because, and sadly, it's box office dollars and stuff that do this, but, like, it kind of deters someone's possible vision that they might have had, and they feel like they have to go into this other direction that maybe they didn't want to originally. So it's like, but then again, it turns around the same way. If now a success of something you see repeated, so what are you going to do? You're going to get a lot of people trying the same thing now again. So like, yeah, I'm hoping you're right. Like, I think if Bride of Frankenstein could be that turning point, if because that'll be two in a row now of
Yeah.
these big, huge, like period type horror movies that come out. Maybe that could change something, it's like and it's so funny because, like, when I remember when I recently saw the original Nosferatu on the screen, I'm like, "Oh my god," it's like I see why people were scared of it back then maybe, but it's so hokey now with, like, the over,
Yeah.
like, act kinda thing, but so you could see now you can do the same thing in the modern times, same plot, same time period, same everything, and make it scary now because you now know what scares people more. You had almost 100 years since that one, over 100 years, I guess, right? It was 22 that
Yeah.
it's over 100 years of more things that could scare people. So
Yeah. I don't know. So this one, I mean, just to sum up my thoughts, I didn't hate it. I'm not it's not like I was sitting there going, "Oh, God, that's the worst movie I've ever seen."
I
Not
enjoyed watching it.
yeah, I
Like I
enjoyed
didn't not
watching it.
enjoy myself.
It wasn't, I didn't feel like I wasted my evening by any means. I just saw the flaws in it, and the flaws to me were I didn't like the cast chemistry. I would say I didn't like the cast chemistry more than I would say I didn't like the cast. I just feel like this could have benefited from maybe a bigger star in one of the lead roles or something.
Yeah.
And then the writing was just not there for me. Like it was very predictable. Even the kids said, the kids are pretty generous when it comes to anything horror they love, and even they said they found it boring, which you don't want to see in a Wolfman movie. Should never be considered boring. And there was something missing there, even at their age. There
And
was
see,
something.
they're almost just at that, like Anna especially, she's almost at that age that they're trying to target with this movie.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
horror
So
movie for her age group,
it
that
just
teen.
it doesn't work, and it's unfortunate because I was really looking forward to this one, but yeah, this one was a swing and a miss for me.
But let's see
So
what happens when they, do the, when who like, isn't, James Wan taking on the Creature remake?
oh man, that yeah, I've
I don't think there'll be enough blue to hide your red Tim if they botch that one
they
up.
botched that one. But anyway, we'll see.
See, and that one's gonna be interesting because 'cause I wonder what they do because a lot of people kinda make, like, The Shape of Water kinda like a
Yeah,
pseudo remake, and I love The Shape of Water,
yes, me too.
and that was really well done, and when did that technically take place in the world? Like, do you remember
Um,
the year it was supposed to take
no,
but it
I bet
wasn't
you.
current day,
No, it
for
wasn't
sure.
current day. It was definitely a period piece. See, 1962 is when was set.
Okay, so yeah, so at least you went back a little bit.
Yeah,
You weren't modernizing things. So and that could be exactly why it worked because it was like you kind of always you felt like in a very magical world. Like there's a very magical thing about that movie. Like
yeah.
it's one of those movies you just watch and you just kind of like feel like you're getting pulled into it with it
Everything,
all
the
around
soundtrack.
you.
That's the only
The
movie
soundtrack, yes, too. Yeah.
and I still have to get it framed, but I got the real, like, the official deluxe movie poster of that for my home theater,
Nice.
and for a film to earn that standard for me, it's gotta be something I truly, truly cherish and love, so that's the first poster I thought of when I was thinking of what posters I wanna hang in my home theater. That was the first one I thought of, was, like, Shape of Water. Like, that's I love that movie so much.
Same,
I
same.
think I saw it twice in the theater, actually, and I never
I'm
do
so
that.
mad I did not get to see that in the theater.
I
Because I mean
never do that, and I went and saw it twice because I think I saw it. I can't remember who I saw it with first time, and then I had to take somebody back and see it again, and
it
I
was
almost
yeah,
never do that, so
see, that's what like, see, to me, that's the difference, like, you would if you wanna do a c like, I know it's not an exact remake of the creature, but, like, like, if that would that's the kinda difference. I mean, make it a slightly modernized if you want, but don't bring it to the current day because it just doesn't it has to be
well, like,
so
the
perfect to hit.
30s, the setting for Bride of Frankenstein, I think, is perfect. 1930s, like, it's far enough away to feel period, but they didn't have to go back all the way to, like, Victorian England times, like, so it's I think, and then, like, Shape of Water being in the '60s, I think you only have to go back a few decades to make
Yeah.
it work. So I
I
don't
just
know.
think you
I
can't
don't know.
like, see, like, the modernization of Invisible Man, I think why it worked is because they went all in on the modernization, you
Yeah, the
know?
technology was part of the story. You
Right, so
had
that
to.
was the whole thing, and it was kinda cool, so you didn't, like you were so enthralled in the way the way they went about it that it didn't matter that it wasn't like a true Invisible Man like the
Yeah,
Universal one because they went so far away in the way it happened that, and it's so modernized, so much use of technology in it that it made it so well,
and they
it made
still
it was
kept
such a
the
hit.
essence. They still kept the essence of it because in the Universal movies, the Invisible Man is this big a-hole. Like, he's
Yeah, yeah.
terrible, terrible person,
He is
and
in the
he
game Horrified too.
in the game Horrified he is too. Yeah, and if you've seen the walk, I don't know if you've seen the clips of the walk around character of the Invisible Man at Epic Universe. He's a
Is he the
total. Oh,
is he the
he's totally
same?
yeah,
Oh,
he's
okay.
totally rude, like, if you go up to him and talk, like, I think I saw one video where the woman went to him and she said, "Hey, how are you?" He was like, "Hello," and she said, "Do you have any tips on what there is to do here?" And he said something like, "Well, for starters, you can get lost," or something, or
Oh,
like,
I love that.
or for starters, you can get out of my face, or something. Like, he's just a real a-hole,
I
and
would
I
love it if
love that they did that.
I wish they could do like a thing there, and I know they could do it. It's a way to kinda do it pretty easily, like, they should totally make it so that he could unravel his bandages and not have a head right in that spot.
Oh, that would be
Like,
cool.
with, like, some just, like, some really thin, like, wire and, like, the hat so it stays on and he could just go like and undo it, and like his head is really below in the body. Like they could totally do that. Now, granted, maybe that's an effect in one of the other, like one of the attractions or something. We don't
Yeah.
know because Tim and I refuse to see spoilers on that until we get there. I think we have to plan a trip together to experience that, though. I think
Yeah,
that
I've got to
we
get
got to
there.
figure out a time because we haven't done a. I mean, we used to do every 2 years do a Universal trip, so we need to
Yeah.
recreate that. Um, so yeah, we'll try and plan that. But it's like, yeah, I like that they did that. I heard the character interactions there are really good. That's some
Yeah.
of the things. I'm trying not to read too many things about it, other than like what I can't avoid. Like I listen to like like I think like right like Mike and EB are having someone on about it. I think
Yeah,
the next
they just
episode.
they
Or they
just
just
had
had,
it.
oh, yeah, that's right, it
Yeah.
just had it on Friday. I didn't listen yet, so yeah, I'm like, I'll listen to that because they're really good about
Yeah, they
kinda
don't
making
spoil
sure
it.
nothing gets spoiled, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I actually listened to that episode, and there was nothing there that we
Okay,
didn't
good, yeah,
nothing
so
there we
I'll
didn't already know. I mean,
okay.
they don't spoil ride details or anything. So,
Okay, good, good.
um,
Because I already got one spoiled that I won't tell you even because in case you didn't see it yet, I don't wanna it's just one, like, thing that happens, but it's not like I don't even wanna 'cause from someone complained, they said, "Why'd you spoil that? I didn't know that happened." So I'm like, "Okay, maybe it
uh,
was a big spoiler," so I didn't wanna say anything. But,
so what do we have for our beer pairing for this movie?
believe it or not, it was way harder than I thought to find
You would
a
think there'd be a
beer
lot of
named.
werewolf beers out there, but
You would think werewolf, there were more, but a wolf man was harder. And there were some great ones I found, and they were all special collabs, special one-time releases. There was one where it was some weird, like these 2 guys that just brew beer like at a they've been around for 10 years, but it wasn't like a real brewery, so I don't even think they make this one anymore. Like I think it was a one time, like, so I had trouble, but I finally found one that was interesting. And I found a Wolfman brewery that was like, it was called like Wolf Man and Wolf Brewery or something like that. But it didn't have a beer name that kind of worked with it to use it. So, but I did find this one. It was called oh, I don't know why that says brewing. Oh shoot, this got messed up, I think. Oh no, maybe it wasn't. I think oh no, I'm sorry. It's correct. The beer's called Brewing Wolfman's Brother with 3 R's. I don't know if that's supposed to be or like a growl. I don't know what, but anyways, from a brewery called Knotted Root from Nederland, Colorado. 7%. And this is the funniest like description. This was a description by a store that sold it. I could not find this on there. They didn't have an official site that had a description. So, but it's an unfiltered double dry hop IPA. It says this beer is brewed in honor of one of the most legendary Nederland locals. Guess there's a Wolfman's brother there. I don't
oh,
know.
is this Wolfman Jack? Is that where he came from?
Maybe I don't know. It says we hopped this brother with a unique blend of Mosaic Nelson's, Salvin, and Muter. It says think Macho Man Randy Savage, Propellers from Afar, and Shirley Temples. So I don't know what that means. Like Macho Man because it's a little like a little rough on your throat.
I don't
But, like, a
know.
little bit of sweet because 'cause it's got the Shirley Temple, I don't know. It's kinda
Wolfman
weird.
Jack was born in New York,
Yeah,
so it
so,
wasn't him. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Wolfman Jack. Yeah, I like Wolfman Jack, he was a
I
funny guy.
love Wolfman Jack.
But I don't know what Macho Man has to do with it. He was like, "Oh, yeah, with the beer." But,
Does it
yeah,
have a
you gotta
little
watch
essence
have
of
you watched
Slim
Raging
Jim?
Midlife yet? Emily's movie with the
Not
macho
yet.
man in
N-
it? You gotta
no,
see
I
that
gotta
one.
watch that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so our fan topic food question this week is if you found out you were turning into a wolf man or something other than you are, what would
I
you
figured
be?
I'd branch out a bit so you can kinda get a
Yeah.
little bit more,
I
like.
thought about this one. I think okay, I'm assuming you would think you were going to be a threat to your family. Like,
Yes, like, I should preface it. So we wrote it quick, but basically you're under the assumption similar to like this, like you know that something's happening. Like you early enough on in the change where you could actually make a decision, you realize something's happening.
yeah, I think I would I think my first and foremost, I would hope this is the case. My first and foremost goal would be to get away from my family, like to protect them in any way possible. I think it would like turn myself into like a mental health facility or someplace where I knew I would not be a danger to them. Now, in this case, in the movie, he didn't have that option. They're out in the middle of
Yeah, because it
nowhere.
happens. I was gonna say that's the one thing it did
Yeah.
right. It took that, like, it put them in a place where he didn't have an option of escape, which I
Right.
liked.
Yeah.
That was one thing it did really well,
But I think
actually.
in this case, yeah, I think that's what I'd do. I would turn myself into this sounds like a Kim and Ket episode. Like, what would you do? I think I would turn myself into a Kim and turn into I think I would turn myself into like a mental health facility. That's what I would do.
Yeah. 'Cause, yeah, usually because once they saw something weird, they'd sedate you and lock you away and then probably, like,
Yeah, then hopefully they would, I mean, they're either gonna figure out what's going on and cure you or you're gonna just die. But either way, at least your family's safe, you know?
hey, yeah, I and for you, you're like, see, you have a wife and kids, I mean, I don't have kids, but I have a wife and a dog. So, it's like, but you try and get awa yeah, like, I would do the same thing. And this could be anything. Like, I made this open-ended like that. I said Wolfman because of the movie, but, like, open-ending, like, what if you, like, started to really feel that you're starting to go insane or something, like something was really wrong
Yeah.
and you knew you were gonna put a burden on your family. Like, and obviously, I mean, everyone's dealt with, like, a loved one that's at this point probably in their life, some closer than others that, have some kind of dementia or some kind of, mental issue that's really starting to change. Like, once like, I think and I even told Julie, I said, "Oh my god, if I ever get to this point where you see me, like, really, like, going off the rails, just I'm giving you if you want me to sign it, I will. Just I'm giving you permission. Just throw me into a place. I don't wanna ever put the burden on anybody, you know?"
I've known people that had a family history of dementia or early onset dementia who did that. They made those legal decisions well ahead of time, knowing that chances are they were gonna get to that point, and they made the decision to, like, get their affairs in order beforehand kinda thing. So, I mean, I've seen that. I've experienced that in real life.
Yeah, and so
So,
and, like, that's kinda what the spirit of the question was. It's like and I think
yeah.
it's I mean, I had a feeling most, people would have the same answer. I mean, I guess it's kind of a bad question, the fact that what's someone gonna do? "I'd stick around and see what happens. I see how much I could destroy with amongst everybody before I leave." I mean,
We'd see
granted,
who would
maybe
win in a dogfight, me or
I mean,
Odie.
yeah, I mean, maybe if you look at today's government, you'd see that that would be the answer by them, but yeah, no, but yeah, no, I can't imagine a person with any kind of conscience or soul would not kind of answer in the same way. Maybe not the
Yeah.
same detail per se, but definitely with the same, well, I'd get away from the people I care about because no one wants to hurt loved ones, and if you have the option to not, because what's the worst happen when you accidentally you say something that hurts someone you care about and you didn't mean to say it that way? It came out funny or it came out awkward or just in a fit of anger, you said something terrible and you didn't mean it, but you know, it kind of things like that. And that like if I ever do that, I like that eats me alive for like weeks and like
Yeah.
so it's like I can't imagine that if I actually knew and I saw something coming that was so bad that I knew it would possibly destroy everything I care about. How could you not make that decision to get as far away as possible to prevent that?
Yeah, unfortunately, maybe I should have gotten as far away from possible from this movie, but
Poor thing.
I didn't know ahead
Wasn't
of
that
time.
bad. I mean, it's not
I'm just
let's put
kidding,
it
I'm
this way,
just kidding.
we've seen a lot worse.
We have
It's like
seen a lot
I
worse, I'm just
and I
being mean.
yeah, and I bet you it wouldn't hit so hard as if we didn't, like, love the original and we didn't love the Benicio del Toro one. I even like that Jack Nicholson one. I mean, so it's like, I mean, there's
Honestly,
like,
if it you're right, if this had been generic werewolf movie, I probably would
yeah.
not have I still would have had the same,
Oh, it had the criticisms.
criticisms,
Yeah.
but I don't think it would have really bothered me that much. Like, I would have been like, "Ah, it's just an okay werewolf movie."
I think the
But
fact that that they promoted it, the whole, like, marketing campaign was, like, it was a remake. It was,
yeah.
that was the death knell of it.
And to be quite honest, I love The Invisible Man so much that I was expecting that
That
caliber,
too.
and I didn't get it, so
Yeah, that
that would
too.
have
It
played
it
into it as well.
yeah, you expected it to be like, "Okay, it's gonna be different. I know it's gonna be different." You have to expect that going in. Like, I knew it was not gonna be it was different than the difference I thought it was gonna be, but, like, I didn't think
Yeah.
it was gonna be all technology, like, they were gonna start injecting like this wolf man all
I
over
have
the
a
place because that.
Wolfman suit.
I know, yeah, so like that, yeah, like it was like at the end you find out, oh, it's not really a wolf man at all. It's just a
So it's
man.
an AI generated costume.
Yeah,
No,
like
they
that,
didn't.
like that,
Yeah.
like that's where. But honestly, that's where I'm afraid where this is gonna go. It's one of these Blumhouse remakes is gonna be like that. Like it's gonna totally make an AI version of something we love and kill it.
Yes. I don't know. All right, guys. Well,
But
we will see you back here soon. Let us know what you thought about the Wolfman, and if you have left us a
yeah,
review, please let us know so we can kill you virtually on the
yeah, I'm interested.
podcast.
This one, I know we ask for this a lot, but seriously, reach out to us. I'm really interested in what other people think of this. If Tim and I are we just so did we just miss something? Or did we get too far deep into the critics world that we're like nitpicking? I want to know what people think
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. So yeah, drop us a line at civilwarpodcast@gmail.com. We read all of your letters, so definitely let us know.
I forgot one thing, and I meant to say this on. I should have said this in the first chop, but I think I want to do this movie, but definitely need to watch The Ugly Stepsister on Shudder.
Oh,
Really, really good, and it's like a body horror Cinderella essentially,
I didn't know
which
that was on Shudder. I thought that was
yeah,
like
it's
coming
on
out at
Shudder.
theaters or something. Okay.
And
Yeah, I want to see
and
that one.
Just Watch has it wrong. It only says it's on AMC, but technically, whenever I see something that's on AMC, I know
Yeah,
to
they
check
tie
Shudder too,
together. Yeah.
and it's on Shudder, and it's really, really good. Good gore, definitely not for the kids. There's a lot of nudity in there that I did not expect in a body horror Cinderella of this magnitude kind of nudity.
Well, maybe we'll have to do that
Uh,
one next week.
yeah, I was gonna say to do that one if we didn't pick this one, but this one was already in the works. So maybe we'll do it next week. But I do recommend that one to everybody, especially since now we might do it next week. It'll be good to watch. I think you'll really like it because it's like it's a like here's a perfect example. Not to start this as we're ending the episode, but like to take a story that everybody knows and now you made a body horror version of it of Cinderella, which would never put the two together. This movie did it great, and the lead actress is so phenomenal in it.
Oh yeah,
So
I
it's
can't wait.
really
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
I had this
definitely
one on
watch
my
that one.
radar ever since I heard about it. So yeah, I'll definitely
Yeah,
watch that.
definitely watch it. So I give that a high roar. So I'm actually looking forward to like I'll watch it again, and then maybe let's just call it now. That's next week's movie.
All
And
right, cool.
so look, you got some Civil War insider there.
For you guys that stuck around to the ending,
Yeah,
you got the insider scoop.
there you
Okay.
go.
All right, guys. We'll see you back here soon. Take care. Stay out of the woods.
See ya.